Randy, this is Steven, Michael, and Zach. So Codesnips, as you heard, pretty much is all the other projects tonight. It's a secure internal online code repository. We have revisioning working, so people can go in and make revisions to make modifications to the code. We have browse and searching capabilities, and you can make comments to snippets, so there's a lot of room for developers to work together. Technologies used, I mean, most of this stuff is what everybody else used. Some of the ones that stand out, except for one of the groups I heard, is Syntax Highlighter and JS Beautifier. The Syntax Highlighter highlights all the code. We actually have a beautifier for anything that's not HTML or PHP. It'll actually keep the format for you, so it's all standardized. So there's no spaces where there shouldn't be or tabs where there shouldn't be. All right, so everybody's going to talk about their tasks now.
My name is Zachary, and I was mainly in charge of all of the snippet management. So pretty much creating new snippets or like looking at the details on them, which actually has like revisions and all that kind of stuff. I was in charge of all that, and then I did some paging on whenever you actually search for snippets. You know, you're probably going to get a lot more than 10 or whatever you actually set as the number you want to display. And so I made that so like, you know, when you hit next page or previous page and stuff like that. And then I also did some Ajax work, so when you're switching between revisions, it doesn't actually like just reload the page every time. You just drop down box, click it, and it'll dynamically load everything in for you. So it kind of minimizes having to post back to the server and stuff like that.
My name is Randy. I worked on the entire GUI design, as you'll see in a little bit. I worked on a good chunk of the searching functionality, working with highlighting and prioritizing importance of search results, etc. As well as some of the formatting with it, as well as something a little extra that y'all see later on too.
My name's Steven, and I worked on the account management section and administrator page, basically login, any of the security features, any settings that we have within the site, what you'll see in the demo, but we can control how many snippets we want to put on per page, deleting users and stuff like that. It's anything that deals with the administrator.
Okay, and I'm Mike, and I worked on the user page as well as a lot of the bugs and validation on the project.
Okay, and I worked on database management, revisioning, code highlighting, formatting, displaying snippets, and extra something to receive. Okay, so task completed. We completed everything. The only thing that was on the sheet that isn't actually done like it should be is the related links, but we have tags, so you just click on the tag and anything related to it will pop up. So. The additional functionality, this is something extra we're going to show you. We have the tagging, we have settings and code formatting that actually keeps all the tabs and stuff. Some of the difficulties we had, we decided to use a local database, and for some reason some of us have the 9 SQL Express versions that come with Visual Studio, so we have problems with the right versions of SQL installed. So with that problem, we actually did have the problem of HTML rendering when we were trying to show you a preview of the snippet. If you put HTML in there, it would show like, if you put head 2 tags, it would put the actual header 2 in there, or text boxes and stuff like that. So we had to work that out. Our search functionality isn't the fastest right now. We want to implement full text searching, which we didn't get to. But it does search by just pulling the whole database down pretty much and searching through and filtering it from there. And then search highlighting. We had some problems with like case sensitive stuff, so right now it's working now. So I have to show you. And the future enhancements that we wanted to put in, email notifications. We do keep track of people's emails right now. They're just not actually getting any emails when stuff happens. Dynamic paging, so you don't have to post back the page, and more speed optimizations, which would be the full text searching. All right. Okay, so this is what you're presented with when you first come to the website.
Okay, so I've worked on the login page, and as you can see, if you put in the wrong password or username, it'll validate just like any other box. Go ahead and put the right password in, and log right in.
Alright, so this is the home screen you come to. You have your basic controls up top and the search box to search for your query. You have the most recent snippets listed right here, as well as your tags, and the descriptions of them, how many comments or revisions there are, and how many views there are. Over here you have a tag cloud of the most recent tags that have been added to the database, and then you can have the option of creating new snippets. So we'll go ahead and do that right now. Alright, so then you come to the create snippet page where you can put in additional details. One of the things we decided to do, which Alexis added his group to, we have tags. So if you start typing a tag and press space after it, it'll actually convert it to a little box. It's got a little X on it so you can delete them as you want. And you can add more. Backspace and then they'll go away. Okay. So let's go ahead and copy a code snippet in there.
Yeah.
He's using my back, so.
We can get one more. Took an extra brace, I think. It's fine. Go ahead and paste it. So now you'll notice below it, the preview popped up. It is great. Okay, so if you notice, if he puts more tabs in there or deletes spaces, this actually doesn't move. So it does format it correctly so that every snippet that's in C# will pretty much be in the same format. So you don't have any inconsistencies going on. Though there should be code standards in place for that. All right, and then you have an option of putting a revision comment on there. That's optional. You don't have to put it in. So let's go ahead and just create it. Now go ahead and turn it over to Zach.
And after you create a snippet, this is the default page it brings you to. This is just basically all of the details about the snippet at the top. And then you can actually see the code snippet all like highlighted and formatted pretty like right there. And it has the line numbers. And if you look up there, you can see by the details, it has a little edit button, and the revision also has an edit button. All of that, it's all like Ajax, so it dynamically loads this little page in. I apologize, it is kind of slow, but. And then you can like add a comment to this revision, since we didn't actually add one, but we want to add one now. And then you can just save that. And then it'll, you can see the comment's been added there. And then you can do the same thing with the details, but in the code snippet, they have that little icon right there, and that's our copy snippet icon. So whenever you click on that, it actually copies it to your clipboard, so you don't have to like manually copy it or anything like that. And then you can just paste it in there, I guess.
Just paste it right in there.
But and then you can also have comments down here. So if we wanted to say, oh hey, this is a cool snippet, I used it for this, or just like ask them a question or just anything like that, you can just put whatever you want there, add a comment, and it'll post that to the page. We didn't actually get that working fully with Ajax. We wanted it to be where you hit submit and it would just dynamically do everything, but it does actually have to reload the page right now. And since we're logged in as an administrator, you can edit the comment or delete it, and you can also edit and delete your own comments. But since he's administrator, he can just delete or edit anybody's.
It's the same thing with the revision in the snippet at the top. You can do, if you're not an administrator, you can't do that.
Yeah. And so if we wanted to say add a revision, you can just click add right there. And that's going to bring us to the new revision page. And so he can say change something, maybe delete something, or add something else to it. Maybe just add another line. And now if he wants to add a revision comment to maybe explain why he changed something, or just mention anything really about what that revision actually changed, you can do that. That's optional. I guess we forgot to actually put optional on the screen, but it is optional. You don't have to do that. And then you can just create revision. And whenever it comes back, you'll actually see, that's actually weird. Well, that's not supposed to be red. I don't really know what's going on there, but
It's a projector.
like that's the first revision. It didn't actually reload the entire page. It just loads the information that it needs to. But this is the newest revision, and so he deleted that HTTP post, so it's in red, and he added var test equals A. I don't know why that's actually in red. It's supposed to just be a green line there. Maybe it was because he added a return or something, but yeah. And so it does highlight changes there.
She got change highlighting, which is cool, except if I come here and I want to see the last revision, I don't want to see the red and the green, I want to see just the last.
After that was pretty much the last thing before the code freeze that we did. I wanted to put like a little checkbox top of it, but
We just didn't get that.
That's cool. It does though, if you go back to like revision 1, and you load it dynamically, the copy and stuff will actually show you, it'll copy the revision 1, not revision 2, so it does change that.
And it doesn't copy the old, like, whenever you click the copy, it doesn't actually copy the change highlighting, so you can copy that without having to worry about it.
And it'll also change, I don't know if you noticed, when you go to revisions, it'll change the information right here. You can't really, this did change all this information about the revision.
And I think that's about it for the snippet page, but one thing we can kind of go into, I guess, well first, you know, it has views and like the description and all that up there, and we have tags there, and you can actually click that, and that's pretty much, I guess, the closest thing we have to related links. But how that works is you click on it, and it'll actually query our search, and then it's going to search, like do a tag search basically. So we're going to search for everything that has C# in it. And as we mentioned earlier, our search is kind of slow right now. But you can see it highlights everything as well. But now I'm going to turn it over to Grant.
Yes. All right, guys, for the search page, the way we designed it out, it does it by priority. Kind of like a scoring system, if you will. It first searches for tags for everything that you, searches for tags first for your search phrase. So if you only wanted to search for the language, you would pull that first. Next it goes into it searches by title. After that's description, then it goes into code. Go ahead and do a search for like snippet.
Full text for the thing handy right here.
Alright, as y'all can see, with it's showing a few of them. The top two, delete a snippet is pulled from obviously the title first. Then it's in the description, it's highlighting it anywhere it appears on the page. If it does not find it in the description, it searches the code. If it's in the code, it'll actually display it from the code and not worry about the description if that's not what you're looking for. So, that was about it for the searching for priority.
And you can't see the paging down here, so the next page at the bottom. You can.
Alright, yeah.
I'm going to be talking about the My Account page. So this is the user account page, and we have some scrumptious information here, such as number of snippets that the user created, we have revisions, number of views, and as well as number of tags. We also have a tag file on the right, all the tags that the user has created. On the bottom, we have the most recent snips that the user created. You can also change your password from this page if you want to.
So there's validation on these forms too. So it does that without posting back as well.
Now Steven's going to talk about the admin page.
Okay, well, as you can see, this admin page is very similar to the user account page, except we can change our settings. If we wanted to change the home snippet count to whatever number, 7, that's going to show now 7 snippets on the home page. So if you were used to looking at 10 snippets or used to looking at 3 snippets, and change the dates for the user. Down here we'll see our registered users. Anybody that's on the system, you can, with the administrator access, you can delete them, you can edit them, reset their password. You don't need to know their password to reset their password as administrator. So you can just change it right there. You won't see the administrator tab if you're not administrator, obviously. You can log in, everything's hidden. Same thing with all the buttons throughout the entire website. If you're not administrator, you'll be able to edit or delete. That's about it for the administrator.
Okay. So that's the website, and then we also at the end added a desktop version. So this is so they don't actually have to log onto the website to post their snippet. So if I just log in real quick. So when I log in, it's just a simple layout. You can press the X and it'll ask you if you want to keep in the system tray. I'm going to say yes. And then what this allows them to do is actually go into wherever they have their code saved, highlight the code, and then just press Control-Alt-C, no matter where you are. Box will pop up, paste a snippet in there, and you can give it a title, description, and the tags right here are just comment separated. So you can submit it, submit the snippet uploaded, so go back now. Should see that one. Actually, it might not be using the same database, you know, you won't see it, but it does post it to the database. And then the other thing that we had is if you right-click any file on your system, if you actually want to upload a whole file, you can just right-click the file, import the Codesnips. It will pull up the same window, automatically put your file in there, give it a title, description, tags, comment, you're set to go. Any questions? Yes.
A couple things that would be nice. Can you view all snippets submitted by a certain user?
No, I didn't even think about that until.
That would be useful. Another thing would be if you visit the site all the time and you just go to the same snippet more than once. Maybe if you could favorite one, and then when you log in, it shows that one first or something, or you can say view my favorites or something like that. That'd be nice too.
Yeah. Again, it was just stuff we didn't really think about it.
I was just curious about the desktop version. There's an icon code snippet setup. I was just curious.
Oh yeah, actually,
What options?
to do the whole registry thing, you actually have to point to an actual like, exe or whatever. So I actually made a setup to install it. So they can just download it. Eventually, I'll have a link on the website, and then we just download it and use it. Yes.
Can you pull up the new snippet submission form for the desktop application and also for the web? Put them side by side.
Not sure what you're saying.
It's close to side by side. You can do it. All right, so this is pretty similar, right? Tell me it's the same code that does the submission.
Yeah, it's the same services and models, data, all that kind of stuff.
All right, so show me how, can you open up the desktop application code?
Yes, sir. It's not the way you're thinking. It actually is the same code, but it's just two separate projects. I was gonna like actually move the project
So it's
into
the same code
solution.
because you copied it to the clipboard and pasted it in another document.
Yep.
That would be the definition of not the same code. So if I wanted to add a new field, actually, if Robert wanted to add a new field, how many times does Robert have to do it now? Twice. What if he screws up the second? Right? He's not. He's just going to make you do it. Yeah. Okay, so all joking aside, all joking aside, you've seen some of the other project structures. I'm sure they've run you through this.
Yeah.
You've seen some of the other project structures where there's a UI project, right? Alexis had very good naming schemes. His team did. There was a project, there was a UI project, right? Then you had a domain, yeah? And then the insertion logic for creating a new one goes in the domain, and it can be reused because your UI for the desktop is different.
Yeah.
In the same solution, you could have the web UI and also the WPF UI, right? And then they access the same services.
Yeah.
That way, once you get one of these done, you can create a desktop or your mobile, different UIs, and you can do it very quickly. So when you see these products that come out, they create something and then they have a bunch of different versions, a bunch of different UIs and access points for all of this stuff. It's not because they hired a ton of people to redo it 4 times, right? This is code reuse.
I eventually wanted to do an API. Like I said, it was the desktop version was the last minute thing, so I didn't really sit down.
But if you had this separated, it could have still been a last minute thing and be done. But the fact that you've got this one project all soldered together.
I think I actually got told to do this though. So,
all right. The fact that it's all, the fact that it's, this is not about blame. This is about not ever doing this again, right? You want to separate all your pieces out so that you can reuse them, right? You separate the data out of the domains that you can change the database without the persistence layer, without having to change everything else.
And I
Take
think it comes back.
your logic and your services and you put them all on their own. So that if later this WPF app, you wanted it not to be local, but to use WCF services to communicate, that's not a problem, right? Your transmission type can be changed in the middle. This is what we call separation of concern.
So I do have a question. Back on the copying, out of the code, that button you have. What's the functionality between that and talking to the browser, and how does that work across platform?
That was actually the problem. Actually, we were going to use JavaScript's copy to clipboard functionality. I did find out that Firefox doesn't allow any of that anymore.
Yeah.
So what we did is use Flash to do it. So that's actually a Flash button. And whenever you redo like when you click another revision, it'll automatically recall that code into it. So.
Okay. Is that a third-party Flash, or did you guys roll that?
No, that was third party.
What was the, just because I don't know, I was just wondering what the difference in, was the view models and the views in y'all's? What are the difference in those?
So I think somebody said something about getting the actual multiple models into the same view. So what we actually did was create view models to where snippets with tags, for instance. So it's just a simple class that has snippets and tags. You make an instance of that, set your snippet with tags, and pass it into the model. And you can just say models.tag, models.snippet. You have all your stuff over there. Then we have our services and stuff like that. So. Any more questions?